Hello everyone, James here with another Grid Legends stream. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got the wonderful Sooty, who's above me actually. I suppose I should be pointing that way.
Hi James.
Hello. And we're just going to go over kind of Grid Legends and what the game's all about, and if you've not played the game before, just a nice little introduction to it, really, a personalized introduction.
Tonight's going to go incredibly well. No crashes, no mishaps. Winning every race, compulsive liar, you know the score. So
Grid Legends is the latest game from Codemasters and EA, and it's all about fun, exciting, and action-packed racing. Really, like that's what we've been saying all along before the game came out, and also afterwards as well. If you haven't played a racing game before, or you've been interested in racing games, but you've been a bit daunted by some of those more simulator games out there that are really tough to kind of get right into, and you feel like you need like really expensive sim rig to play them to their full extent, then Grid Legends is just the perfect place to jump in. Who doesn't love a good story? First and foremost, we've got Driven to Glory, which is our story mode in this game. You play as Driver 22, who is a rookie on the Grid World Series, and he basically gets recruited by a team here called Seneca Racing, and I think actually this is your opening race of the season as well, as you being a new driver. But I'll shut up for a second because there's a nice little cutscene here.
My mother has this saying: it's the farmer that makes the dish. What that means is you have to adapt to the ingredients in hand. I went to scout one driver, but found another, and I was impressed by our chat, so I made an offer.
Wait, you were impressed by a conversation?
That's right. You see, to me, when a person's capable of greatness, it's not just about performance. It's about them, who they are. Great drivers are like the great in any field. They have an obsession, a hunger. They have a need to be more, to prove what only they know they can be. I haven't met anyone this passionate since I found Yume.
He's clearly got me mixed up with somebody else, James.
Yeah, well, that's Marcus Addo. If you weren't aware, now Marcus is the team principal of Seneca Racing, which is this team you've literally just been recruited to. This is filmed obviously with real actors on a real set. The way that it was actually filmed is that you've got some foreground like props and scenery that you can see the actors and the characters interacting with, and then in the background you've got this huge like LED screen which projects this like deeper image, really, which can give like a real depth to the scene. And it's the exact same way that the Mandalorian was filmed in a place called The Volume, with the same technology. So it really kind of like it's quite groundbreaking for video games, let alone like racing games. One of the people in the chat, so Mike Getz, he's just asked the question. He's just bought the game. Where to start? Driven to Glory is the perfect place to start. I don't know if you'd agree with that, City.
Absolutely. So quite often it feels sometimes like story modes are just bolted onto a game just to kind of fluff out the content and basically increase the price. And I didn't have any expectations going into this, thinking to myself, well, it is on rails, it is a linear story, how good could it be? It is so immersive. It's really well done.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time with it as well. Yeah, before the game came out, I was doing my best to try and avoid spoilers with the story, because there's some really cool twists and turns in it. And this, as you say, it hasn't been something that we've kind of shoehorned in. We've really, spent a lot of time putting a really great story together that people that like racing games and that like story-based games are going to enjoy equally, really. I'm actually impressed with how well you're racing this, City, so far. Well, maybe famous last words, some commentator curse there.
Oh, to be fair, what you can't see, James, is my daughter is actually driving. I'm just sat here on camera.
There it is. So, yeah, there it is. As I say, one of the first events in the story, and as the story progresses, the difficulty gets harder as well, because the way it works is that you start off, you know, as I mentioned, you're a rookie in the Grid World Series, which is this multi-class, multi-event racing series, fictional racing series, of course, that you take part in, and you start off with kind of easier to handle cars, like the muscle cars in particular. They're quite grounded. They're quite they're fast on the straight, a little bit tougher on the corners, but they are typically a little bit easier to race. And then as you kind of progress, through the story, you get access to these like crazy hypercars that, you know, go upwards of 200 miles an hour, and they're really, really fun to drive and experience. And yeah, and the way that the story mode is played out is that you have, you know, a cutscene, and then you have like a race that is linked to what's going on in the story, and then you've typically got another cutscene again. So it's very much a narrative driven. It's like it's a linear story rather than there's lots of branching paths and what have you. So and it's filmed in a documentary style. So you never really see who Driver 22 is, who is the character that you're playing. But you obviously get to meet all of the other characters on the grid. So you've got your teammate, who's Yume Tanaka. You've got Valentin Manzi, who is one of the drivers in Volts Racing, and he's actually played by Ncuti Gatwa, who you may know from Sex Education, Netflix's Sex Education. He plays Eric. Really great actor. He brings so much life to that character as well. And then you've got, for those of you that may be aware of Grid as a series before, or previous games in the series, you've got Raven West, who have been immortalized in this game as well. So you've got Nathan McCain, who is, you know, this real, like, he's a perfect antagonist, I think, in this game. Like, he's such a, like, instantly you're like, I hate this guy. I don't like this guy. I don't know if that was the same for you, Seti, as well, but
do you know, I get on with most people, James. I mean, like yourself. But this guy, I was actually thinking, you know, what we ought to try and do is get the actors together into an online lobby so we can race them and give them some grief for reals. Do you think they'd be up for that?
I think so. Yeah, they'd be definitely up for that. Why not? Why not? Yeah, and then you meet other characters along the way as well. So you've got Ajit, who's your lead engineer as well. But yeah, you get to come across, you get to meet all of these wild and wacky characters. And in fact, there is Valentin, as you say, you're closing him down on the last lap.
Trying to. I think he's lost slight aero, in fairness though, James, because he's missing a door.
Oh, is he missing a door? Well, you could see that as an advantage, really.
Yes.
So what difficulty are you playing? Because there's lots of different difficulty modes in this game.
Ultra Expert Ninja Jedi Master is the level I'm on. So otherwise known as medium for the sake of this stream.
Ah, okay.
No, hard. I'm on hard.
Look at that.
I'm on hard.
Look at that. Look at that. First
a win.
place.
Not 22nd.
What a start. What a start. But yeah, should we move on to something a bit different? So we can go through the garage, see what cars we've got available.
Sure.
So, to give you a rundown of the cars in this game, so you're probably not going to see a racing game that has this kind of eclectic and like wide-ranging mix of cars. So you'll see we've got all of the classes there. You've got the touring, tuners, the GT class, and then there's also drift cars in this, because drift is one of the events that's come back into the game. There's the track day cars, the open wheelers, and then you've also got the likes of trucks as well. And there are proper trucks as well. So you've got that massive, as we would call it in Britain, a lorry, massive lorry. Which is a fictional car, the DMG Colossus. And then you've got like stock trucks as well. But then you've got electric cars and some special ones as well. So there's like just a real like crazy mix of cars. Now, I don't know if you've got a particular favorite, but I love the tuners. And in particular, some of those Japanese tuners, they're so fun to drive.
I think more to do with my inability to drive. I tend to favour the slower cars, so I like the mini racers. I like doing the work with the MX-5s. They're really good fun to drive as they are. But I have to say that the craziest vehicle in this game are the stadium trucks.
Oh my God. Yeah.
When I first saw these stadium trucks and I saw the footage of them driving around and the wheels were coming off, I remember even saying to you, James, what have your programmers done? The wheels aren't even on the floor. And then James just sent me a link to a YouTube video where these guys were actually driving around in Australia, and it is literally how they drive. Every corner, 3 wheels, 1 wheel in the air. and they are mental to drive. So much fun.
They're incredible. Going to a race event like that in real life would be such a laugh. It would be such a good time because you never know what was going to happen. Like and for those uninitiated as well, you have to go over jumps in stadium trucks as well. So you're not just in these like really tall suspension trucks going around the corner at 70, 80 miles an hour, whatever it is, but you're also having to navigate over jumps as well. I mean, I love but I love those tuners. Like there's one particular circuit, I think we did it as well when we were playing a little while ago, was on Yokohama docks. There's just some, like, they're at home on that circuit, and they feel really, really good. Like both on a pad and a wheel as well, because obviously this game supports wheels too.
The interesting thing with the wheel, I do have a Logitech wheel, and I don't generally use it a lot because I find it quite hard work with the camera and such.
Yeah.
But I've predominantly been a controller player, and it was only last week that one of the guys said you really need to try grid on the wheel. In fact, they dared me to do it, so I did it on the show, and now I'm working out how I can get the wheel permanently set up in the studio. It is that good.
Nice.
The force feedback.
You got hooked already.
Oh, dude, it changes the game. I mean, I thought the controller control was good, but when you've played other games that profess to be a bit more simmy, I think this has got it beat on some of the force feedback settings. You can feel your way around the corners properly. It's stunning. It really is good fun.
Grid games for me have always been really fun on the wheel because they hit that kind of that balance of not being too realistic that you kind of feel like you can't turn into a corner without spinning out or anything like that, but they're still grounded in that realism as well. So you can like refine some settings if you want to, but I feel like it's not like a super hardcore experience where you have to shut up all the lights, you have to really like get in the zone or anything like that to nail a perfect lap. I think it's just one of those games that you can really like enjoy throwing it around on a wheel as well. So career, let's jump into some career events. So I know you've done the majority of career already.
Well, I haven't, to be honest, and this is one of the things that I keep coming back to. The amount of time I've put into this, and I'm still only 6 of 10 through semi-pro. I've not touched any of the pro races yet, and I've not got down to the final, is it the gauntlet events?
Story mode is one thing, and then we've got this separate career mode as well, which has over 250 events in it. So that's why it's taking you so long to go through, because there's 250 kind of handcrafted events that are in there. And within those 250 events, so touching on some of the locations in the game as well. So you've got 22 different locations that you race in at the game. And within those 22 locations, there's 130 different routes as well. Do the math, 130 routes, you're probably only going to race the same route twice, across the course of that entire career. And with the amount of cars that are available as well, the variety is just going to be off the chart. But you've got some really cool locations that have been added to the game. So there's a lot of the old grid favorites, and one of those returning ones I mentioned earlier, Yokohama docks, really, really cool location. So why don't we do the Super E finale?
Yeah, why not? I mean, why not do the hardest one in the yeah, thanks. One of the things that's really surprised me with career mode is you look at it and it's familiar. You've got different categories, you've got different types of racers, but when you then add on the kind of the sponsorship events that you're trying to do, because if you kind of go towards the bottom of the event, you get sponsor events, and if you haven't unlocked the right sponsor, you don't get to them. So now you have to start planning which races you're going to do to unlock the sponsor events, because certain sponsor event might want you to do some drifting or some jumping or some close drafting. And then when you get into the game and it unlocks this entire dynamic around your teammate, I'd been playing the game for about a week before I'd actually realised that you've got a teammate here that you can control and you can get them to block for you or attack. And if you both get into the podium, the credit rewards are huge. So you end up then making lots and lots of cash, which means you can then buy and upgrade other cars. I think there's a hidden level of depth that isn't apparent immediately, and it's nice to just find that and think there's more to this. Really, really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, and also you're encouraged to buy those upgrades as well, because as the career progresses, obviously it gets a bit more difficult, and even the AI drivers as well will be they'll have upgrades on their cars as well. So if you're not purchasing those upgrades, you're going to kind of either be left behind or you know, you'll have a more difficult experience. That's for sure.
But here comes the finish line, and let's move on.
Brilliant. Yeah. We don't need to look at the place you finished there.
No. Just move on.
I was going to talk about the AI in this race actually, because
we didn't see them, did we?
We didn't really see them much.
No, I'll get them on the next one if that's all right, James.
Yeah, I'll get them on the next one. So you'll see the little icons next to everyone's name. So purple is, I think, a rival.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, and then you've got the red one, which is the Nemesis. Now, the Nemesis is a feature that we brought in Grid 2019, and it's brought back in this one, and it's kind of been revamped to some extent. So if you upset a driver in front of you a little bit too much, so maybe you're a bit aggressive on the corners, and you know, maybe bumping them a little bit too much, or what have you, then they turn into a Nemesis. Now that means that they're not going to like you very much, hence the term Nemesis, and will try and stop you from passing them if you are indeed still behind them. So they'll get a lot more aggressive. They might brake later into the corners, and they'll pretty much sabotage their own race to sabotage yours. Oh, look at this! That you started. Oh, so this is the. I see what you mean. So you finished last in the last one, first in the.
Yes,
brilliant.
You see,
absolutely brilliant.
Although being overtaken there wasn't intentional, so plans not necessarily being executed perfectly, but we get in there.
You got the slips. You can get the slipstream on out of this. Yeah. Okay, yeah, fair.
Look, tiny bit of curb. Turn. Okay. You know, we're all right. We're watching the braking line.
We'll kind of show it in action in a little bit later, but we've got this really cool feature in Grid Legends called Hop In Multiplayer. So I'm sure countless times you've been playing online against your mates in your favorite game, and they maybe you arranged to meet them at 7 o'clock and you turned up at 1:15 and they've left and started the races without you. Well, in this case, Grid Legends is your friend, of course, because you can literally hop in to their races mid-race, and what that does is that you actually take control of one of the AI drivers mid-race, and say, hello, I'm here now. It doesn't matter I'm late. I'm in the race. The really cool thing about Hop In as well is that it actually works across all platforms. So Grid Legends multiplayer, completely cross-platform. So whether you're on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC can obviously be on Steam or on Origin as well, then you can hop into your mates' races, because as long as you've got them as an EA friend, you'll see them on the friends list and hop straight into their race that way as well. Yeah, so let's when you load back in, we'll head into the race creator. Now, whilst we are loading into that, I'll kind of just explain what race creator is. So race creator, we basically wanted to, with all these different combinations, all these different locations, all these different vehicles available in the game, we wanted to give you the opportunity to make your dream racing event effectively. So we crunched the numbers. There's over 1 million combinations that you can make with this game. So whether that is the location that you're racing at, the route that you're racing at, obviously the car and class that you're using, and then you've also got the time of day. There's weather conditions as well, and also you can do. We haven't even touched on this yet, so we should do it for Race Creator. Multi-class events, multi-class. So if you want to race minis, so your favorite is the minis.
Yes. My
favorite's the tuners.
Okay.
Should we do that? Should we give that a go?
Let's do it.
I'm sure more people can jump in. They can hop in, mid-race. So you may be wondering, how does this work? So we've got lots of different vehicles in here, lots of different, engine sizes, speeds, what have you. How does it work? Well, you're about to find out. Where is Brands Hatch? It's Surrey, isn't it? Or around there? I might be completely wrong on that. I've never been to Brands Hatch, so.
I've been, but I don't remember which part of the country it was, because I got a lift there and I was very drunk on the way back. So somewhere south is what I remember.
Somewhere south.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you've been doing some tuning as well. So there's a little bit of tuning you can do on all of the cars before the race.
What I find with the tuning as well is it does make a massive difference to the way that the cars operate. And if you don't set your gearbox right for the given track, you're at a massive disadvantage.
Okay, very well. So the minis are the slower cars in this race, so they're the ones that start first, and that's obviously what Sooty's picked. Now I'm in the skyline behind. We're basically going to be starting. I've got a timer on my screen here, which obviously you can't see, but the game works out the distance that it should be between the car classes automatically. And then I'm basically, it's basically cat and mouse really here. So I'm going to be trying to chase you down, and you'll see those split timings on the left hand side of the screen. So those are the cars that are either in front or behind you, or the classes that are in front or behind you. So you'll know basically how fast you need to go, or like how close that car is behind you. But essentially everyone's going to be fairly even despite us being in different cars. It's just that we're all starting at different times. So I've got to try and chase you down. So I'm starting now. So here we go. With the less powered cars, it's kind of like you want to be smooth, don't you, on the corners and
why?
Oh,
why would you make me?
Oh, fantastic!
I was so smooth until you said be smooth, and then I was in the sand.
Oh, this Nissan's an absolute beast.
This Mini is not.
It's quite the opposite. It's a bit dirty though. You can clean the cars in the menus, can't you? So
yeah, you can. I don't like doing that though. I like to show, I like to show a car that's been driven, worn in.
I know what you mean.
I wait until the car's dirty enough to then write something in the back.
That'd be a good addition with it.
It would, yeah. Just press a button so you could actually draw with your finger in the dirt. That'd be brilliant. Nobody's ever done that on a decal on a car before.
Look at the difference in lap times there, though. It says, 122, I think, was my best lap time, and yours is 145. So it just shows how different those cars are, right, in their speed.
It does, and you still came fourth. So
I know, still came fourth. Thank you very much for that. Second reminder there. Thanks very much. So should we do another multiplayer race?
I'd love to.
We've got a few more people that have joined, it seems, as well.
Can I press the random button? Can I press it? Can I press the random button?
You can press the random button.
I love the random
full
button.
Permission.
Thank you very much.
It's a good button. Just wanted to kind of summarize everything we talked about today. So we've got, Driven to Glory, which is this really cool story mode that we've added into the game. It's all about, the game itself is all about fun, exciting, and just action-packed racing, really. But the story mode in particular is really unique to, games in general and also racing games. So you've got this documentary style story mode, and that's how it's filmed. A bit like Drive to Survive on Netflix, if you've seen that. Real actors, real sets, and then you've got these cutscenes that are interspliced with gameplay as well, which is what you race. So you race as Driver 22, who's this rookie driver on the Grid World Series, and you have to make your way through those rookie classes right through to semi-pro, and then hopefully making the pro leagues and beyond. You've got classic drivers that are coming back as well with Raven West Motorsport. And then one of the actors we've got in the game as well is Ncuti Gatwa, who plays Eric in Sex Education as well. Really, really talented actor. But then separate to that, you've got the career mode as well. Over 250 career events to tuck into. And of those events and throughout the game as well, you've got 22 different locations. There's 130 different routes in the game as well. So there's just so much variety, and over 120 cars that are in the game as well. Obviously, we were just racing there, minis versus tuners versus MX-5 as well. So we've got the career in there as well. Really, really cool. We're obviously doing multiplayer right now, and Sooty has kindly pressed the randomize button on the race creator, and the race creator lets you pick, different locations, different cars, different weather effects, different time of day. So you have just the complete freedom to make your dream racing event, and those include multi-class events as well. Elimination and drift, which we haven't really had a chance to touch on today, are also featured in the game. So you've got races, you've got point to point, you've got drift and elimination. There's so many different event types to choose from too, and then there's just so much content in this game to enjoy. You've got the race creator we talked about. It's cross-platform multiplayer. There's hop-in multiplayer, so you hop into the race mid-race and take control of one of the AI cars. And the game's on sale now. It's 34% off until the 11th of April. And there's also a 10-hour trial available as well through EA Play. So if you've got EA Play on PC or on console, then you can jump right in with a 10-hour free trial. See what you think of Driven to Glory and multiplayer and career, and then if you like it, pick up the game. Thanks so much for joining us today. So I'm gonna finish out on a win here, City.
Okay.
I'm sorry to tell you that.
That's fine, mate. I think you should.
Oh no. Yeah, my car's making some grindy noises. I don't think Ferrari would approve of that.
I'm pretty sure some of the Cody's guys must be watching the stream. I know they were on Tuesday. I wonder how they feel when they've spent literally months perfecting the perfect mechanical breakdown noise, and you literally summarize it as a grindy noise. Just curious.
What? I mean, if it was supposed to sound like that, you've overtaken me now. That's embarrassing.
Sorry.
If it's supposed to sound like a
hang on a minute.
noise, that's surely a compliment, isn't it?
Just back up a second, Ginge. What do you mean that's embarrassing? What's Do you know what? I can't argue. You're right. It is really embarrassing.
We'll get these streams clipped up and shared on our socials as well. So if you missed anything and you want to see our beautiful faces again, then you can do that. We're just those kind of people.
Sounded legit, I thought. I mean, I assume as soon as we go off air, James, we're going to carry on playing. Because, I mean, we haven't really stopped since Tuesday, have we? I mean,
No, I know. I'm quite tired, though. It's been 48 hours of non-stop playing.
Okay.
Don't know about you. I'm quite sleepy.
I've got another 2 hours left in me. Grid is life.
Okay.
Hashtag. No?
Grid is life. Put that in the DLC as a plan.
Yeah.
Just like,
love it.
Grid is love, grid is life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Hopefully you got a good insight as to what Grid Legends is all about, and if you've got any questions, then by all means, our Twitters are on screen there, so you can feel free to just ping us some questions, and we'll get those answered for you. And hopefully we'll see you online as well. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Take it easy, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, catch you later.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.